So,
How it happened.
Joan.
Right, my name is Joan Redgewell, and my husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in April 2011. But previous to that, I can go back to 2006 when I realised that things weren't quite right. And that obviously got progressively worse over the time, and until it got quite serious. He was wandering off at will, and luckily I had very good neighbours that used to go in the car and we used to find him and that. And then I went to the doctors about it, which I felt really bad about doing that, and I really thought there could be something done there in that respect if they sort of tested people over a certain age.
Right.
Because bearing in mind he was also driving, and his driving was like a white knuckle ride when I went in the car with him. So for all sorts of reasons, because I did feel really guilty about, going to the doctors with him and, to get him tested. And his doctor referred him to St Martin's Hospital at Canterbury, and he had a brain scan there, which it came back as it was Alzheimer's. And then just about 10 months after he was diagnosed, one day I went out in the garden for 5 minutes and he'd gone missing. And I ended up calling the police, and he was missing for 9.5 hours, and the police found him in Lewisham. He'd managed to get on a train from Faversham to London, and they had him on CCTV, entering Faversham station and actually getting on a train. So after that, I couldn't leave him whatsoever, and that has made my life very, very hard, because I love to get out my garden. I've got a big garden. I love to get out my garden, and that's just gone to pot. I don't go on holidays. It's difficult. There's a family I can't travel with him. It's very difficult to travel, because in respect that if he gets on a train, he starts shouting and swearing at me because he thinks I'm taking him all around the house, and he thinks he's been on the train for hours. He never ever used to swear. Even my brother-in-law said when he was in men's company, he never ever swore. But now he uses language like it's second nature to him, and he shouts and things. And just like the last 2 nights, he's kept me awake by saying he could smell burning. Can I smell burning? Is the door secure? And for the last 2 nights, I've had hardly any sleep. So from that point of view, I find it very, very difficult. And I think that I find the whole caring process very difficult.
My name's Maureen Galvin, and my husband Norman was diagnosed in October of 2013. Again, like Joan, I knew quite some time prior to that there was something wrong. But it was very difficult to get Norman to go to the doctors for the memory test, because I had heard with the Patchett chap on television about the medication, and I thought the quicker I can get him on some medication, perhaps it will help. Anyway, eventually we did go in the July, I think it was, of that year, and again, like Jim, he had the scans, but with Norman he's got mixed dementia. He's got vascular dementia and Alzheimer's. It wasn't too bad then. The worst thing was stopping him driving. That was horrendous for him, but like Jim, he shouldn't have been driving. And personally, I think, and Norman's 83, but I think anyone over 80, they should be tested again, because there's so many out there with dementia that just aren't diagnosed, and they are a danger, not to themselves but everyone else. We no longer have a life.
And that isn't right, really.
And obviously our partners no longer have a life, but that is the nature of the illness. And half the time I don't think, Norman doesn't realise. As far as I'm concerned, he has a very good life, because he's cared for constantly. He says to me, I'm very tired, and I think, why? You sat there watching me work on. And also a great problem with Norman with incontinence as well, so that's even worse.
But like
His
psychiatric nurse rang me yesterday, and I was telling her I'd had 2 really bad nights with him, and he's hallucinates as well. And I said, he's really hallucinating a lot. And I've had 2 really bad nights where he keeps getting up and he thinks the house is on fire, or can't get into bed because there's a big hole in the bed and he's going to fall through it. And she said, is he drinking enough? And I said, no, but what? And she said, well, get him to drink more, but what do you do when you give him a drink and he turns it upside down on the table, or he sticks stuff in it? What do you do? I don't, they can't tell you.
He's further along than Norman, although Norman did what
and they
Jim
do,
did.
they're like children.
Yeah.
Children, you know, stick nice cream in their water, or, you know, in their drinks. And
This is what I've got to look forward to.
What about the moment? I mean, like, presumably he has, like, is he able to reflect on what he's done?
No. No, because you say to him, what have you done that for?
What's
and
it
he
me?
said, I haven't done it. You don't know what you're talking about. And then you have to be careful because they start getting aggressive, and that you can't allow that. If that happens, you just walk away. Yeah.
I mean, Norman's threatened to ram a glass in my neck. Walked away.
And Jim has gone out the house, been out the front of the house, absolutely no clothes on. And you have to then watch them it's a 24/7 thing.
Yeah, that's supposed to be exhausting.
It is.
Because you constantly got to be aware of what you're saying, what you're doing. It's just a simple thing, and they can stop and think,
You know, my brother, you lose contact with family because you can't go to family
and friends,
dues
I forgot
and
to say that. Friends
and
back off.
My brother used to come down and stay with us, but that stopped because Jim walked into his daughter's bedroom, 16-year-old daughter's bedroom, with no clothes on, so they haven't been down since. And you know, you can't even go out for a meal with him, because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes he'll chew his food and then spit it out. How can you go anywhere and that happens? You can't. So it's a complete and utter, you know, as I say, you can't do anything. You can't go on holiday, you can't go for a meal.
Finished, basically. It's just wrapped around there.
And if he went to sleep,
That's why I'd
tomorrow
rather they went
morning,
into care, because then you wouldn't have to worry, then you wouldn't want them dead. But if you've got to fund it, and you've got no money left yourself.
yeah, if he went to bed tonight and didn't wake up tomorrow morning, went please, I would not shed a tear. I wouldn't. I would be at peace, and he would.
You would, you know you would.
I don't think so.
Initially you wouldn't, but then it'd hit you and you would.
It's just very difficult.
I was crying on the bus coming home from Canterbury. It was my first time away from him. And I thought, you're mad. He didn't last long, I was home about an hour and a half, and I thought, why the hell? And I was crying.
You know, I've been with that man 51 years, and all that time, he's just a different person. As I say, he never swore, he was never aggressive to me. He was always, you know, very hygienic in his, all that's gone.
In terms of improving things for other people, or someone like yourself, caring for someone with dementia, with Alzheimer's, what's the kind of, what kind of things would you be looking for?
What I think would be the biggest help for me is maybe even once a month somebody came and picked him up on a Friday afternoon, took him away for the weekend once a month and brought him back Monday, but you just had that time to yourself. That would be absolutely wonderful. But that is just not very. Any respite care, one, is very, very expensive, or it's very hard to get.
So what about coming back to Age UK Faversham, this enterprise? What can they do? What should What should they be doing more?
If only they could get more involved in how we can get respite. I mean, because at the moment they're not. I mean, social services. They've written us off for social services because Norman doesn't have maintenance problems. I mean, they came to help in regards of because he doesn't walk very well, raising things and all that. But once all that was done, that was it. They said, oh well, we've written you off now. I said, thank you. I said, why can't I have a manager? Oh, because you don't need maintenance. If like Joan, if he goes into care, we've got to fund it, all of it. And I think down the road it's £1,000 a week.
Yeah, if it's good,
Isn't
it's
it?
£850 a week.
The one because there aren't many actual care homes to take people with dementia anyway. That's another problem. I mean, my worry always is if I go into hospital, how the hell, what are we going to do? They say, oh, it's okay, we'll get care for him. But what type of care? I don't want him thrown into one of these awful places that you've seen. They're terrible. And then I've got to pay for it on top of it. Hey, I don't know exactly. That's the other thing. No one really tells us what we're allowed, what we've got to pay for. That we need to know. It's a worry, isn't it?
Absolutely, and like Maureen said, Age UK, I doubt if I could be able to care for them if it wasn't for them.
No,
They've
I couldn't.
really made my life better.
Yeah.
Because Jim was, until he broke his hip, he was going to the Monday respite. They picked him up at 9:30 and brought him back.
Same as normal.
And that was really precious to me. I can ring up anytime I want. I can contact people anytime I want if I need to. They give me the dementia cafes we go to. You meet other people.
That's the only problem, is the dementia cafe is actually on the same day as we go to Tenham. So I miss out on that now.
Okay.
If only one of them could be shifted.
So it's just a timetabling issue.
I know.
But it could be done.
Could it?
Well, I mean, couldn't it?
I don't know.
Okay.
So,
Dementia Cafe.
Yeah, you meet people in the same position as you are. You can talk to them, bounce off of people. Because that all helps. It really helps to talk. Maureen often rings me, we just talk, which helps. And sometimes you have a laugh.
oh yeah.
And sometimes you have a
Got
cry.
Yeah.
And things.
Quite often you have a cry.
And I also went through times when he was very aggressive, and I can ring Debbie and say he's been she'll come and see me and talk to me about it and that.
From what I've heard, it's having a place to go, like the Dementia Cafe.
Well, also the respite they provide on a Monday.
And Tuesday, but we only go on
Respite,
Monday.
having people to talk to, ensuring that you can have meet other people in similar situation,
Yeah.
Yes.
and somebody on the end of a telephone if you're in crisis.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's wrong. It should be so reliant upon just one person. There should be great more, if you know what I mean. Perhaps a 24-hour lifeline type of thing. I'm not saying they can do anything, but
I was watching this programme on Sweden, and people with Alzheimer's or dementia, every month, 1 week, at the end of the month, they go into, or like 1 week of every month, they go into like a respite. And that means that people can stay in their own homes with carers much
yeah, I want the
longer.
government to pay for the care, and we know where we're going at the end of it. Because there will come a time when Norman will need to go in care if he lives that long. I mean, he's 83, who knows? I might not. I mean, all that hard-earned money will go. I mean, if I go before him, he'll go in the care home and everything will go. Why? It's wrong.
Jim's 87 in January, and he's doing really well.
He's well for his age.
He's really doing well. He's really I just think Age UK do.
If they could help more with respite,
But even that,
even, you know, so we could have an idea of where we're going.
I'm concerned with that even because everything is related to funding and things,
Yes, I know.
and it all comes down everything, the medication, the, you know, if they need respite, everything, it all comes down to funding.